On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Huge news all over the place right now. Daniel Penny news, big time. They're trying to turn into a riot. That's gonna be interesting. Jay-Z and Diddy, huge stuff coming out. Again, we'll see when they get their time in court. But there's a lot of pictures that would presume that Jay-Z's maybe a little caught up in some of this stuff. We'll find out. Got some great news around Trump. Some speeches from him. Trying to think of other stuff that we could talk about, but we've got a lot. Elon Musk, some crazy stuff going on. Whole lot. Let's get into it, and we'll see what you guys think. Starting off with the Woot. The Woot is actually going specifically kind of for this story. Sidney Powell. Oh, not yet. Coming. But this is actually cute. This is Elon Musk's child. I think I actually meant to put this over here. Let's just say that belongs over there, and we'll try this. How about that? There we go. Yes, now we're talking. General Flynn posted this. The Texas Court of Appeals stated, you have to be a damn fool and abject stupid not to see what happened here. And what he's replying to is Sidney Powell and her case, her appellate case, to be disbarred. And it was awesome. So, Sidney Catherine Powell vindicated on all counts by Texas Court of Appeals. After 3 effing years of litigation in a 24-page ruling by the Texas Court of Appeals, the court rules Texas bar miserably failed to prove Sidney Powell acted in, quote, dishonesty, fraud, deceit, or misrepresentation, end quote, in the 4 lawsuits she filed against the overthrow of the United States government on November 3rd, 2020. The court even caught the bar lying. Can you disbar the bar? A, by its own admission, the bar misidentified or failed to include multiple exhibits it claims to have relied on in its second amended response. B, the deficiencies go far beyond mislabeling exhibits. C, the bar not only failed to cite or argue about any additional documents, the documents are not mentioned at all. And D, you have to be a damn fool and abjectly stupid not to see what happened here, the opinion added. This is a big old fat black eye to the bar, first off, and second off, about dang time. Sidney Powell, who's quite possibly got one of the best reputations out there. In fact, they say in the bottom here, Sidney Catherine Powell was an assistant United States attorney in 3 judicial districts under 9 United States attorneys and both political parties. She represents United States in 350 criminal appeals and represented private parties in another 150, all resulting in more than 180 published decisions. She was the youngest assistant U.S. attorney when she began practicing. She is an elected member of the America's Law Institute and the past president of the Bar Association for the 5th Federal Circuit and the American Academy of Appellate Lawyers. Exposing corruption is one of the most powerful and corrupt law enforcement agencies on the planet, the U.S. Department of Justice. And she's licensed to lie in a book she prayed for she'd never have to write. So, good stuff for her. Huge. And also, huge news, which is having some really, really bad repercussions, it seems. We'll see. I don't know if they're able to amass the numbers they need. I'm bringing it to the attention of people because it's worthy of having attention brought to it. Hopefully that helps keep it from happening, actually. But a Manhattan jury found Daniel Penny clear of all criminal misconduct. He was not held guilty in anything. 0. Done. He's released. He's out. He's free. New statement from Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg on Daniel Penny's acquittal. I actually thought there was some good words. He said, as with every case, we followed the facts and the evidence from the beginning to end. A grand jury voted to indict, and the office carefully presented this case to the trial jury. Over the course of the trial, we introduced medical records, videos, body cam footage, and testimony from over 30 witnesses, including from the city's office of the chief medical examiner. The jury carefully deliberated for 4 days. They requested readbacks of testimony and asked for video footage to rewatch, as well as written definitions of the law. Their lengthy deliberation and the totality of the facts and the evidence underscored why this case was put in front of a jury of Mr. Penny's peers. The jury has now spoken. At the Manhattan DA's office, we deeply respect the jury process and respect the verdict. Unfortunately, over the duration of this trial, talented career prosecutors and their family members were besieged with hate and threats on social media, by phone, and over email. Simply put, this is unacceptable, and everyone, no matter your opinion on this case, should condemn it. These are prosecutors who have dedicated decades of their lives to public service and to the safety of Manhattan. I am grateful to them, as well as the NYPD, for their hard work and commitment on not only this matter, but for all they do on behalf of the New Yorkers. I also want to thank Judge Wiley for presiding over this case. Finally, I want to thank the members of the jury who took time out of their lives to diligently evaluate the evidence. I just thought it was kind of the right thing to say, basically. Charlie Kirk posted this. Inner City Press, I guess, posted, but he's reposting it, whatever. Jury entering. Clerk, how do you find Daniel Penny on count 2? 4-person, not guilty. From Penny said, applause. Judge, be quiet. From Neely's side, gonna be killed. Judge, out. Neely's side, it's a small world, buddy. It's a racist country. This is the dude threatening Daniel Penny as he was being escorted out for making comments he definitely should not have made. He essentially, and should have been arrested right there on the spot for making a threat. That's where that part starts. Here's 3 more examples of them trying to incite a riot. We'll see if they have their way. Tonight, they're saying, might be the night.
I just want to say, I miss my son. My son didn't have to go through this. I didn't have to go through this either. It hurts. Really, really hurts. What are we going to do, people? What's going to happen to us now? I had enough of this. The system is rigged. Come on, people. Let's do something about this.
Let's do something about it. Too often. We have Eric Garner's mother here. There's too often this is happening where we...
Again, this is just the start of it. This gentleman speaks, and some lady, I think it's this lady in the pink. We'll find out if I'm right about that, because all 3 of them are obviously here to rile up the audience as best they can.
Just like everybody else has vigilantes, we need some black vigilantes.
That's right.
People want to jump up and choke us and kill us for being loud. How about we do the same when they attempt to oppress us?
Right.
I'm tired.
Tired.
I know you're looking for us to be like, oh, go and march. Go and march. No. This weekend, I want you to hold a community event everywhere from the Bronx to Houston to Seattle to Florida. Black people, whole community event, and talk about what you need.
Well, it's better than, trying to spark riots and whatnot. So sure, I'll give you that. Community events, very good. And hopefully they don't riot. Here, again, I thought was some BLM leader trying to push things in a bit of a direction.
Because to be real, they didn't even try. Once the lesser charge was removed, they came back an hour later and said it was deadlock. Less than an hour and 20 minutes later, they said not guilty. These wonderful white people, I hope they celebrate their Christmas while the Neely family is praying and asking God for comfort. Goddamn them and goddamn America.
Wasn't this Neely fella homeless? So was the Neely family all that, really looking out for their individual? Does he get to stay in the house every Christmas? Is that the one day you let your homeless family member stay with you? So again, the dude was homeless. Just saying. I mean, that sucks too. It's not like that makes it better. But he was also chastising people. He wasn't being loud. He was supposedly doing more than that. Putting people at risk, it seems. So yeah, they're trying to fire up the peeps. We'll see how it goes. New York, they're going to hear us tonight. This is what these people are saying.
Y'all make sure y'all come out tonight. They're gonna hear us fucking tonight. God damn it. Y'all gonna get y'all money tonight. Y'all gonna get y'all money's worth tonight, motherfuckers. Yeah. Load that shit up. Y'all gonna get y'all money's worth tonight. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice.
Yeah, so that's probably not going to go well for them, most likely, but we'll see, again, how things play out. Again, just kind of funny because the timing of things right now, and just wanted to remind you again of this post I read yesterday. Post 35, POTUS will be well insulated, protected on Air Force One and abroad. He's out of country right now. Specific locations classified while these operations are conducted due to the nature of the entrenchment. It is time to take back our country and make America great again. Let us salute and pray for the brave men and women in uniform who will undertake this assignment to bring forth peace, unity, and a return power to the people. It is our hope that this message reaches enough people to make a meaningful impact. We cannot yet telegraph this message through normal methods for reasons I am sure everyone here can understand. Follow the questions from the previous threads and remain calm. The primary targets are within D.C. and remain at the top on both sides. The spillover in the streets will be quickly shut down. Look for more false flags. Stay alert. Be vigilant. And above all, please pray. For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. Love is patient. Love is kind. God bless my fellow Americans. We'll see how things go, but we're definitely going to keep pushing forward, that's for sure. Pretty damn funny. Jill and Joe totally dog Kamala and her husband. Want nothing to do with them at this very public moment. It's kind of awkward and kind of worth watching. Check it out. Never looks at them at all. He looked past them, and then Emhoff thought he was looking at him, and he's like, no, those guys. Oh, sorry. Yeah, he wants nothing to do with those numbskulls. This is a hilarious picture. I'm assuming it's a legit picture. I think it's stupid that Trump's selling a fragrance, but whatever. If you guys want to smell like Trump, which probably just smells like money, I hope, GetTrumpFragrances.com. GetTrumpFragrances.com. I'm assuming it's his because it's truth on his channel, but it is a funny picture of Joe Biden looking very admirably at who she wishes she was married to. I bet anyways. And last week, a public whistleblower complaint was successfully filed with the California State Auditor to investigate the Franchise Tax Board and whether Hunter Biden filed tax returns and paid taxes properly to California. Now, see, the federal tax thing, Joe can get him off the hook on that one. But he cannot pardon him for state offenses. If he's not paid state taxes in California, and believe you me, California does not mess around when it comes to taxes, he could still be in a world of hurt, oddly. And California, again, is not, they're just dickholes. Whatever. Here is Elon Musk's child. This is just very cute, and of course Elon's taught him to say this, but still cute nonetheless.
What should I do?
Save America.
And?
Help Trump.
Okay.
And have 14 more kids. Sorry, that's not what his son X was saying, but funny. It's funny as hell. Okay, some more drones spotted over New Jersey. I think I put this here, and I probably should have switched these two stories, but put Musk's kid next. But this is an interesting story that is getting legs beyond words. Now, I'm still going to say they're most likely drones. The drones that we can see that have bright lights on them are obviously being obvious. They're using proper rules as far as making sure they're visible to other planes and stuff along those lines. So they are trying to somewhat be safe. Now, everybody and their mother's acting stupid about these. I want to just point out, if it was militaries doing it, it would either be a balloon or it would be something that you couldn't see because it didn't have lights on, and it would probably be black in color, and it would probably be significantly quieter than these seem to be. These are still huge. That's a concerning thing. It would appear to me, and I wonder if this ties into Post 35. It's just total speculation. So, again, it's not worth crap. But I'm wondering if there is some stuff that's in the air, because this is close to D.C., I'm wondering if there's stuff that's in the air that's literally looking for specific movements, specific people, maybe specific cell phone numbers, specific things, like intentionally looking for activities and just parking stuff right over. And a lot of people will be like, well, you wouldn't really need this. They have satellites for this. And satellites generally are traveling pretty quickly, and they don't usually stay over the same area very long. Otherwise, they'd be really easy to spot from the ground. It's, I think, part of what makes them harder to see. So they generally are traveling pretty quickly, and they'll come back around maybe, in a few hours or whatever. But whatever the case is, I think this is something where you could easily put up a very specific array of equipment and just park it hovering in a specific area over a long period of time. These things could be made very efficient. If they're gas powered, they could probably stay up for hours, I would assume. Maybe even if there's some sort of weird hybrid, they could possibly stay up for even longer. The technology I would assume we have, I don't know. I'm going to play this little thing, but this is a big deal. A lot of these things are showing up, and people are freaking out and calling them UFOs. I think that's absurd. I definitely believe they're man-made. I believe in UFOs too, by the way. I believe there's stuff from other countries or other countries for sure. I believe there's stuff from our country. I believe there's stuff from potentially other life forms and possibly from other worlds, most likely even. But this, I don't think, is the case. And I'm wondering what they're trying to do with us. That's the only reason I'm making a big deal about it. Anyway, check this out.
There's one. The plane went off in the distance. One. Where's the other guys? Oh, here. Here's the other one, right over the library. They're just pacing back and forth, going very slow. So that's 2, 3. See how low they are? They go right below the tree line. This one's just coming up over. Where's that other one?
Now, again, I'm totally disagree with her here. I mean, they're not necessarily dipping below the tree line. She's standing reasonably close to a tree, and it's taller than her. So just angle of effect. I mean, these things could be traveling at 1,000 feet, and it would still appear to get blocked by the view of the tree because they came into, a certain area. I don't believe they're flying down at like 100-foot levels. You'd probably hear them more than they do. But that is an interesting thing that's happening. And again, it's happening there. I've heard stories in Florida, Pennsylvania. There's been a few places where this stuff's happening, supposedly. And again, I don't know if they all have the lights on them. I know people have been hearing them. There was the lady I shared with the story yesterday, and she seemed to not understand why it's not okay to fly over the White House, and somehow it's okay to fly over her house because, they're the same thing. Okay. So whatever the case is, we'll see. Again, Elon Musk, these stories got a little swatch. This is supposed to be all around Musk here, but whatever. The federal government computers and software are such bad shape they often cannot verify that payments are not fraud, waste, or abuse. That's why the government can't pass basic audits. They often literally don't know where your tax dollars went. It's insane. My preferred title in the new administration is volunteer IT consultant. Need to fix the IT infrastructure in order to make government work. This is a grind and hardly glorious, but we can't make government efficient and fix the deficit if the computers don't work. That's awesome that he's going to help us do that. It's pretty cool. An apparent threat was made against billionaire Elon Musk as authorities continue searching for the killer of the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson. Over the weekend, a user on Blue Sky, because it's where all the good people went. It's a platform touted. This is the one where everybody leaves Twitter and they go to Blue Sky. It's touted as the alternative to Musk's, formerly Twitter, posted an image that appeared to encourage an attack on Musk. Posted by the user with the handle smiling nodding at blue sky whatever.social, I guess is how their addresses work. But alongside the caption, he said, #manifesting. The image showed Musk standing on a sidewalk while a gun is pointed in his direction by a person who cannot be seen. The post was apparently removed by Blue Sky. This user wrote in a post early Monday that the post had been taken down because a bunch of crybabies complained to the moderators. The user has been contacted for comment via a direct message on Blue Sky. Musk has been contacted for comment via an email to X. So we'll see what comes from that, but that's, pretty illegal. This is an amazing image, I feel, that really, really, really shows the part of quote-unquote carbon in the carbon capture in the greenhouse gases game that we're playing, and what they consider to be the thing that is destroying the weather, the thing that is destroying mankind. Here is a graph. So this graph, hopefully you can see it, is what our what our air is made of. Our air is 78.08% nitrogen. That is the highlighter color, the yellow color. 78.08 is nitrogen. Nitrogen doesn't really react to much of anything. It's pretty inert. It's just mostly what most of air is, 78% nitrogen. Oxygen is 20.94%. So again, I think a lot of people assume more of the air is oxygen than it is. That would probably be dangerous in the big picture. Like when fires would start, it would probably almost burn the atmosphere. The atmosphere would provide so much fuel that it would possibly be extra dangerous, whatever the case is. 20% oxygen, still quite a bit. Argon is 0.93%. Now we're getting to CO2. So argon's the red part. CO2 is the green part, the little teeny tiny green corner, okay? The teeny tiny green corner, that represents the total CO2. Now, of the total CO2, that's 0.04% of the air. 0.04% of the air is carbon dioxide. Of that carbon dioxide, 0.384%, or almost all of it, 0.4 is total, 0.384 is natural CO2, just naturally occurs. Plants and everything else, breathing, volcanoes, just everything that happens, the stuff that probably decays within the oceans, whatever, okay? Of the CO2 that's human created, that's 0.0016. 0.0016. That's that teeny tiny little white dot in the upper right corner of this big giant graph. It's literally one of the little pixels of the, 50 pixels across by whatever. That one tiny pixel is what we do. That's why so many people with brains on their heads are pretty sure it's not humans that are causing climate to change. We represent such a tiny amount of what the air is. It's stupid. Stupid. So anyway, just fun facts. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Here is Trump pledge. This is a pretty good little Trump video. Check this out.
Cutting wasteful and job-killing regulations was a key part of my America First economic agenda that built the greatest economy in the history of the world. As I work to quickly save America from Joe Biden's economic disaster, and that's what it is, one of the great economic disasters of all time, I will restore my famously successful executive order requiring that for every one new regulation, 2 old regulations must be eliminated, and I will ask Congress to make it permanent. We will again implement a regulatory budget, putting a hard cap on the cost of regulations to the U.S. economy. Instead of growing the size and scope of the federal government, every single year we've been doing that, we will shrink it every year with aggressive cost reduction targets for each federal department. In addition, we will require that all agencies' regulatory guidance must be posted publicly in a central database, or else be rendered null and void, and many of them will in fact be null and void. This will effectively repeal a mountain of stealth regulations and threats that rogue bureaucrats have imposed without proper oversight. And I will sign a law to ban bureaucrats from taking any enforcement action based on informal guidance alone. For example, never again will bureaucrats be allowed to bully and pressure banks to choke off their financially deplatformed, politically disfavored industries. We're not going to let that happen. Next, I will bring the independent regulatory agencies such as the FCC and the FTC back under presidential authority as the Constitution demands. These agencies do not get to become a fourth branch of government, issuing rules and edicts all by themselves, and that's what they've been doing. I will require that they submit any regulations they are considering for White House review. In addition, we will create an ultra-streamlined federal regulatory framework specifically for freedom cities, allowing them to be true frontiers for the return of U.S. manufacturing, the invention of new industries, the rebirth of economic opportunity, and safe and affordable living. Finally, I will require every federal employee to pass a new civil service test demonstrating an understanding of our constitutional limited government. This will include command of due process rights, equal protection, free speech, religious liberty, federalism, the Fourth Amendment protections against unreasonable search and seizure. I know all about that at Mar-a-Lago, don't I? And all other constitutional limits on federal power. We will put unelected bureaucrats back in their place, liberate the U.S. economy, and attract millions of jobs and trillions of dollars to our shores. Thank you very much.
Well done. Well done. Yeah, that'll be fun. That's going to cause some people to get a little pissed off, won't it? Won't it? This is just cute. I don't know. It's kind of worth it. What the hell? We'll play it. It's an artist out in front of some hotel or in front of ABC Studios in New York, unveiling his new art masterpiece.
Good morning, America. As promised, I stand here in front of ABC Studios, Hudson Square, in New York City, to unveil my latest masterpiece. But I really want you folks to please pay close attention to the intricate details of the faces of my subject. Without further ado, I present to you my latest work of art, appropriately titled A City View. Ready?
Good.
Yep, all the people on the view with big old piles of poop on their head, or foreheads, I should say, and there's even flies around and stuff. It's pretty funny stuff. So yeah, good activities there. That's for sure. Just again, want to remind you guys of the way things are going in the world and the fact that a cornered animal is a dangerous animal. They still have their hands on many things. Some are suggesting they still have their hands too on a bunch of uranium, so a dirty bomb possibility or whatever. False flag, of course, to blame Russia, of course. So I don't know, the next 40 days-ish are going to be very interesting, and even well into Trump's first probably 180 days, easily. So a lot of things to consider. And right now inflation is out of control. Right now the stock prices are, well, they say pretty overblown in a lot of cases, which means if you're cash heavy right now, which is not a bad thing to be, you might be prepared for when stuff does hit the fan. That's a perfect time to start considering buying some stocks. If you're somebody that's kind of locked into a system where you don't even manage your own funds and you're in a 401k or an IRA, you can actually get out tax-free and penalty-free. That's one of the awesome things that my good friends Goldco do. I'm a partner. You're going to be helping the channel, of course, too. Goldco does an amazing job at this. They don't believe all the crazy crap I talk about. What they do and what they focus on is helping you get out of that system tax-free, penalty-free, and to protect your wealth with gold and silver. They're very good at it. They're experts at it. And the reasons I think now is a good time to do it are what I share, all my craziness, right? But these guys are the ones that can help you do it. You can do it tax-free, penalty-free. It's physical gold and silver, or even other metals if you want, probably. And there are many, many suppliers, so they're able to get that taken care of in the best way possible. Also, up to 10% of the face value of your particular 401k or IRA, up to 10% of that free silver given to you on top of the deal, just to sweeten it up a little bit. Go to drslikesgold.com. That's drslikesgold.com. Protect your wealth before they take it from you. And we know what's kind of happening. We sure do. We're seeing it. All right, some interesting stuff here. This was just a fun post, and then they brought up the last post by Q, which I think is really important for a lot of reasons. The 40 isn't necessarily important. Someone's making a big damn deal about the fact that Ezra Cohn retweeted an anon, so then all of a sudden now 40s. Again, sometimes numbers and dots are connected, whatever. Maybe I just can't see it. It's cool. But like I said, the last post is kind of interesting, and what this brings up is also interesting. So Ezra Cohn retweets an anon. The anon just so happened to mention 40 days. Why is that important? Biblical. 40 days is a big deal in the Bible. It rained for 40 days and 40 nights before the flood. Well, it flooded because of the 40 days and 40 nights, not really before. It flooded during the flood. Moses was on Mount Sinai for 40 days and 40 nights. Moses interceded on Israel's behalf for 40 days and 40 nights. Jesus was tempted in the desert for 40 days and 40 nights. And there were 40 days between the resurrection and Jesus' ascension. The very last word of the very last Q drop made, in fact, talks about ascension. What's also interesting is 4, oddly, in China, or Chinese, is like a really bad number. 4 is a horrible number because the word for, and I can't pronounce it and don't even know what it is, but it is supposedly very similar sounding, if not, it's really, really similar sounding to the word death. So the number 4 and the word death are very, very similar words. And so because of that, it's considered a sort of a, like 13 is here, but oddly 13 is actually a good number, they say. Again, numbers are a funny thing, and they've been taken over by the occult and used for occult purposes. That doesn't make a number bad. What you do with the number is what's good or bad. And they just took over it. So they've scared people from using the number 13, and we've locked ourselves into this number 40 in specific kind of ways. Whatever the case is, it's interesting when numbers are constantly placed in our lives and we're expected to react a certain way with them. 40 is definitely one of those numbers. So it's kind of interesting. And they talk about ascension, and ascension is why I believe I'm here. I believe I'm here to help you guys ascend. And most of my audience, teacher of teachers, most of you guys are not here to try to ascend, maybe 5th, 6th density, depending, or ascend into 6th density, maybe ascend into 5th density. Might be a lot of you guys that are trying to graduate to the next level, but most of the people we're actually trying to help are trying to ascend from really the 4th to the 5th. Is a big part of it. And some from the 3rd to 4th. We'll be helping a lot of them. Those are some of your more very simplistic people. All said, I believe that's what we're here for. Crazy as that may seem. But post 4966, the final post. What is coded in your DNA? Who put it there? Why? Mankind is repressed. We will be repressed no more. Information is knowledge. Knowledge is power. Information is power. How do you protect your DNA? There is a war for your DNA. Protect your DNA. Ascension. There are a few different versions of genetics on this planet. First off, just to take the basics, there's different blood types, right? Why? Why are there A and B, and then you might not have either the A or the B of antibodies? Or why is there the minus and plus? Because you might have the O antibody, right? Why are there 3 totally different kinds of blood types? And then genetics, technically speaking, from a human standpoint, there were 3 broken down, and the ones that I've heard them called from like National Geographics or whatever, but it was Mongoloid, Negroid, and Caucasoid were the 3 basic types of humans. And so those are even slightly genetically different from one another. So again, there's some interesting variance. And the question really is, from where did these things come from? And we've heard of stories about the gods in the past where they were messing around with human DNA, or they were gods were having sex with humans and creating offspring, and that created all sorts of problems. We've heard these stories, but most of the time we assume they're sort of outside of us. Yes and no. So again, I don't know what's going on, but we're not quite at 40 days. I started doing the counting. I want to say we're at 43 days or something right now, 42 days, something like that. Real close to 40 days out from the 20th, which is kind of an interesting time frame. All said, we'll see what's going on. Here's Donald Trump basically saying we're subsidizing Canada to the tune of over $100 billion a year. We're subsidizing Mexico for almost $300 billion a year. If we're going to subsidize them, let them become a state. And he brings up a great point. And is this, again, what someone was bringing up too, is this part of that multipolar thing? Again, what happened with Assad and what happened. Like Russia's not really owning that part anymore. Maybe that's not really their problem per se, or this needs to get worked out and under another umbrella, and we're sort of letting them kind of work things out. Whatever the case is, it does seem like strange things are happening that are changing maps for sure. So, okay, this whole thing with the dude that shot the CEO of the healthcare company, right? So they caught him in Altoona, Pennsylvania, and he was being held for questioning. They figured out who the dude was. Now, it's interesting is this is not the guy that Tori says was suggesting that she used that online software to figure out. And I'm still personally not 100% sure they got the right guy. There's a lot of people that are questioning this. Whatever the case is, I don't know. There's a slight difference. To me, the teeth definitely look different. But the eyebrows potentially there. I've got some pictures open where his seem to taper more than the actual guy they've got picked out. Again, I don't know. I'm curious what you guys think. I don't believe the government, obviously. So this is one of the big problems. We have to get trust back in our institutions. And right now we don't trust them at all. So they're telling us that they got him when there's a strong chance. And I'm going to float this right now. I didn't necessarily give this credit when I first heard it because, it's like, yeah, I could have. But one thing that has happened before, and I would say as a rich individual that maybe wants to hide because you do have death threats, one of the greatest things that people do is they fake deaths. One of the easiest ways to fake a death is to actually have your double go and take care of something for you, and you then murder the double. No, you're not going to tell him you're doing this, by the way. That's a not good business practice if you're the double. But they murder the double, and then you use that to hide and pretend that you're no longer alive. And so that's one thing that's happened before, but certainly the people have blown themselves up or sank or had their boat disappear right up into some vortex or whatever. Yeah, right? We've heard some crazy stuff happen. So sometimes this is how some of these people disappear themselves. So just because it may seem like they've been offed, in some cases, they might actually be running away. It's all right. They won't be able to get away. And remember the Sum of All Fears, right? That song when they're singing the Italian song at the end, and people are just showing up in that one dude's house and just takes, drops them right there. These people won't get away. They won't get away. But all said, this person of interest, they're saying it's Luigi Mangione. He is an anti-capitalist climate change activist and former Ivy League student. What's interesting is none of his online accounts have been scrubbed yet. Now, maybe they will be soon, but people are already looking into this, and we've got some pictures of his accounts, which is strange. Like here is his X account, Luigi Mangione, right here. Dude's ripped. Obviously, he's hiking someplace. Looks like, I don't know where he's at, but looks like it could be Hawaii or someplace that's beautiful. But yeah, there's Honolulu, Hawaii, probably. So yeah, dude's like Mr. Outdoorsy, Mr. Man. He actually did have a threat. At some point, I'll probably pull it up. Here's Eric Adams talking about them apprehending him. Obviously, this happened in New York, and we're going to get Fox News have their little moment of time to talk about it too. But all said, check it out.
And I'm joined here today by our Chief of Detectives and the Police Commissioner and Chief of Department because we have a strong person of interest in the shooting that shook our city last week. CEO Brian Thompson of United Healthcare was the victim of a senseless act of violence. Our officers have been working around the clock. Many of them did not go home to pursue this individual. It was crucial that we were able to remove him off the streets of America, and we were going to seek him out no matter where he was at the time. And so this is a strong person of interest. The police commissioner and chief of detectives will go over where we are right now in the investigation. He matches the description of the identification we've been looking for. He's also in possession of several items that we believe will connect him to this incident. How did we do it? Good old-fashioned police work. The chief of detectives and the police commissioner made the decision to release as much of a photo that we had at the time. We sent it across the country, and someone, a McDonald's employee, did something we ask every American to do. If you see something, say something, but most importantly, do something.
So she poisoned his shake. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think it was anything like that at all. No, it wasn't. But yeah, they caught him. Suspect in custody is believed to be the person of interest. He was in possession of clothing, including a mask, consistent with those worn by the wanted individual. Also recovered was the fraudulent New Jersey ID that matched the one used at the hotel where they had the picture of him taking his face off, or mask off or whatever. So it would imply, if that's all true, that they got the dude and that literally this manhunt stopped him. Now, again, it's difficult, right? So you got the teeth is kind of a funky thing. I don't know. It's hard to say. We got his other picture, I think, here. Or is it here? We got him. Give me a second. Yeah, there it is. Oh, it's kind of sort of small. I thought I had him pulled up someplace else. But so we've got, I don't know, maybe the teeth on the side just looks weird. It looks like he's kind of missing. And the eyebrows look really, really, really thick. Let's see. We got the one where he's got his jacket off his face. Where is it? I had these sort of pulled out a little. Well, that was kind of it. I don't know. Whatever the case is. I thought there was the one where he didn't have his hood on, but hoodie, whatever the case is. Still, yeah, tricky to pin down. I mean, the nose looks similar. Maybe the chin, the lips kind of does. Yeah, we had that better picture at one point. I'm going to say me, myself, and I, all three of us, we had this picked out. Yeah, I don't see where it went, though. It's weird. It seems like this moved. I did have one other picture where he didn't have his face covered. There was one where he was kind of showing off his whole face, and you could kind of see his eyebrows a little better. But whatever the case is, he did a reasonable job hiding his self. United Healthcare and other major insurance companies have pulled their company and board leadership bios from their websites. There's apparently threats going on right now. These people are very hated. Right, wrong, and different. And finally, this dude, Maluji or whatever his name is, he left some chilling words, a small manifesto, a couple pages long. He said it had to be done. Had to be done. He says, these parasites had it coming, wrote Luigi Mangione. He allegedly wrote this 2-page document. He goes, I do apologize for any strife and trauma, but it had to be done. I don't know. Strange stuff. So again, people are in hiding now. Musk has been threatened. Trump's, of course, always threatened. So got a lot going on in the Syria area, and ISIS is getting annihilated. So right now, the deep state is very heavily taking casualties as far as their abilities to create war, create terror, chaos, any of that stuff. We have literally shut down a large portion of what Iran has been using as their, I don't want to say military arm, but their kind of brown shirts equivalent, if you will. So we launched dozens of airstrikes apparently on the 8th, I think it was. Over 75 targets were struck in the center of the country using multiple U.S. Air Force assets, including B-52s, F-15s, and A-10s. Some of what we've been able to assess, and some of that was from like what Israel was doing, is they literally blew up, and I think I got a picture of it coming up, but they literally blew up a weapons facility. We talked about that yesterday, too. I'm going to show a picture of it again today. These 75 targets that we hit with our missiles are almost assuredly weapons facilities, bio facilities, things along those lines that we would not want to fall into anyone's hands. Anyone's hands. Certainly didn't want them where they were. Now that they aren't in charge anymore, we don't want those existing for anybody. So I think, and probably destroying evidence, possibly, who knows, but whatever the case is, still don't want that stuff floating around. So strong strikes taking out ISIS leadership. Joe Biden talks about stuff, I don't know, we could watch this thing at 14 times speed and it would probably still be a waste of our lives. So whatever the case is, he says why he did what he did. I don't think he's in charge. You don't think he's in charge. None of us think he's in charge. So, right? Like, he said something, though, 6 minutes worth of stuff. Richard Grinnell posted this first originally in, I don't know if it's Arabic or if this is Farsi or not. I don't know if he's speaking to the Iranians or not. It's Arabic. There it is, translated from Arabic. That helps. Google, if you just read the words, sometimes you can be amazed what you learn. He said, with Assad down, We hope the Syrian opposition will work to find and secure the return of American citizen Austin Tice, who was held by the regime. So I didn't even know there was an individual there that they want to get out. That's interesting, and I assume he is of significance beyond words if Richard Grinnell's bringing him up. Seems like anyways. Israel said it carried out strikes against the chemical weapons and missile storage sites in Syria, describing the move as a preventive measure to ensure the safety of citizens after the fall of President Bashar al-Assad. That's how they pronounce it, ass. I said it yesterday. I know. Still messes with my mind. They're blowing up all their weapons facilities, weapons production stuff, everything. This was a destruction of the deep state's weapons, one of their weapons arms. Might be one of the final places they have. Maybe China's the final. I don't know. Hopefully Xi is doing his part. Maybe Trump is going to help push that in because obviously China, and we're going to get there, but China's definitely making moves to prepare for a financial war with us. I actually kind of look forward to that. I think it'll be kind of fun. GOP senators call out NBC for selectively omitting key words from the 14th Amendment in Trump's interview. Kind of a bummer that Trump didn't actually kind of catch her himself. I mean, I wouldn't have. But Trump is really amazing when it comes to a lot of this stuff. But at Meet the Press, this is what Mike Lee posted, Senator Lee. He admits 6 words about birthright citizenship from the 14th Amendment. The omitted text is set off by asterisks. She said all persons born in the United States shall be citizens of the United States. That's what she said. The actual verbiage, all persons born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof shall be citizens of the United States. If you're not actually a citizen when you are born here or your parents aren't citizens, well, you're not really subject to the jurisdiction thereof, are you? No. So it sounds like Trump's still going to be able to do what he wants to do. International Union of Police Associations has thrown its weight behind South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem to head Donald Trump's Department of Homeland Security. I'm surprised, but that's cool. Police unions coming out and saying, we want her. Get her in there. Get her confirmed ASAP, which is cool. That's good to get that kind of stuff happening. Chuck Grassley posted this. In his 7 years as FBI director, Chris Wray has allowed the Bureau to be politicized and repeatedly refused to answer questions to Congress and protect whistleblowers. Time to turn the page on Director Wray and Deputy Director Abbott's failed leadership. I've seen enough. So he's done with them as well. Here is Nunez kind of repeating the same stuff of Kash Patel, but on a different show. I don't know, Mark Levin getting on his audience and being able to say this is pretty cool. And I like Devin Nunes a bunch. So all of this is just good sauce.
You had personal, substantive, constant interaction with Kash Patel. Tell America about Kash Patel, if you would.
Well, thanks, Mark. It's great to be back on with you. I'm glad you're doing so well. And look, when you see people attacking you, that means you're right over the target. And that's why they're going after Kash Patel. So you may remember, not a lot of people are talking about this in the media, but he was a DOJ prosecutor before he came to work for the United States Congress. We recruited him away from the Department of Justice because we needed someone that knew how DOJ and FBI, what they were doing to create this whole Russia hoax. And of course, as our lead investigator, we uncovered something that nobody thought was even possible. One of the biggest hoaxes in American history. Kash Patel was at the heart of that, and he paid a heavy price. He paid a personal price, and I think a lot of people don't realize this, but when we investigated DOJ and FBI at the time for their involvement in the Russia hoax, what did they do? They actually turned and got subpoenas secretly against Kash Patel, against a lot of my former staff, including Senator Grassley's staff, who were doing what? They were actually doing their job, providing oversight, looking over the DOJ and FBI. And what was the reward? They got subpoenaed so that they could turn around and reverse spy on what Congress was doing to look at their malfeasance. So Kash has tremendous, not only abilities, he has a strong track record, but the FBI, you know this, your listeners know this, your audience knows this. The FBI has to be reformed. They have to get the hell out of politics and get back into doing things that Kash is good at, which is going after terrorists, going after criminals that we know I think we're at some all-time record high criminal activity in this country.
Yeah, and I've got a story that's coming up here at some point, hopefully soon. Nope, not yet. But talks about how in Tennessee, Every major city in Tennessee has that Tren de Aragua group operating within all of their major cities. That's a big deal. Kash Patel has just wrapped up meetings with Senator Cornyn and Senator Ernst. Both of them are just loving Kash. So Kash is moving along nicely, at least with all the Republican people. We'll see what happens when the Democrats get a chance to go after him. I mean, I'm sure a lot of them are going to say no, but Supreme Court rejects Trump's bid to lift New York trial gag order. Kind of interesting. They won't take it. And again, I don't know. I feel like that sort of creates a precedent, and I could see why the Supreme Court might choose to just let this keep playing out the way it is, because I think Trump's ultimately going to be able to deal with that case at some point. And I think maybe they're probably like, you should probably handle it from those directions. You'll be able to get this appealed at some point, either force him to drop it completely or force him to do something with it, because once that happens, you can appeal it. So this is some shenanigans that are happening, and I'm sure there's some ways that pressure can be put on him too, especially if there's any incriminating stuff or the fact that his daughter's been involved in some of the things she has. I don't know. There's a lot of things that could accidentally leak. It's weird how the world works. It goes both ways. People that are captured you can use them on both sides. That's the fun thing about being a biatch. You're somebody's biatch no matter what. Trump says Zelensky is ready for peace as he dishes to post on meetings with world leaders and Joe Biden. Yeah. Zelensky's desperately trying to get some sort of deal put together with the Biden administration because he knows Trump's not going to play the same game. Ultimately, he wants to force one of two things. Ultimately, what Zelensky wants, because he knows he's not going to get the land back from Russia. There's no chance in hell of that happening, and the war will continue if that's the insistence. So the only other thing that he's really trying to push for is that he can become a member of NATO. And he wants that expedited. He wants Biden to immediately make that happen. That's just not how it works, first off. And there's no way Viktor Orban's going to allow that. So the United States cannot unilaterally decide to put somebody in NATO. And I'm sure Trump is going to fight that anyway. So I bet a lot of people would be like, let's wait until Trump comes in before we start doing weird stuff like that. So needless to say, I don't think it's going to happen. Trump is very pleased to announce, and I think this is so super duper, that she is going to be involved in some capacity. Certainly working for the government would suck because this chick makes 7, 8 figures, probably 8 figures easy a year, or at least probably has made at least 8 figures helping Trump out. So he is pleased to announce that Alina Habba will join my White House team as counselor to the president. Alina has been a tireless advocate for justice, a fierce defender of the rule of law, and an invaluable advisor to my campaign and transition team. She has been unwavering in her loyalty and unmatched in her resolve, standing with me through numerous trials, battles, and countless days in court. Few understand the weaponization of the injustice system better than Alina, who has fought relentlessly against the full force of lawfare with courage and an unshakable commitment to justice. As a first-generation American of Middle Eastern heritage, she has become a role model for women in law and politics, and most recently being named Chaldean Woman of the Year. I don't know, but she's freaking gorgeous, too. Smoking hot chick. Not that half of you care what I think about that. The other half just totally agree with me. Donald Trump, well, there's probably a few of the chicks that are like, nah, she's pretty hot. I agree. Donald Trump, truth this, the Democrats are fighting hard to get rid of the popular vote in future elections. They want all future presidential elections to be based exclusively on the Electoral College. They can't make up their minds. They're like, well, you beat us this way, and then we got to get rid of that way. Oh, you beat us this way? We got to get rid of that. We'll keep that. We'll get rid of that. You guys, come on. That's just funny. Well, we beat you both ways, so why would it matter at this point? Trump shutting down the leftist hack Kirsten Walker on the stolen 2020 elections. This is pretty awesome. Trump's answers are awesome. You guys are going to like this. Check this out.
Sir, I don't have to tell you this because you've talked about it. It comes at a time when the country is deeply divided. And now you're going to be leading this country for the next 4 years. For the sake of unifying this country, will you concede the 2020 election and turn the page on that chapter?
No. No, why would I do that? But let me just tell you, when you say the country is deeply divided, I'm not the president. Joe Biden's the president.
But you're going to be the president.
No. I'm not the president. So when you say it's deeply divided, I agree. But Biden's the president, I'm not. And he has been a divider. And you know where he divided it more than anything else, and it probably backfired on him, I think definitely, is weaponization. When he weaponized the Justice Department and he went after his political opponent, me, he went after his political opponent violently because he knew he couldn't beat him. And I think it really was a bad thing. And it really divided our country.
Sir, Democrats have control of the White House now. They didn't in 2020. If they are going around stealing elections, why
when you
didn't
say
they do it
Democrats
this
have
time?
control now
Of the White House.
Yeah.
So why didn't they steal this election? Since they have more power now.
because I think it was too big to rig.
So you won't.
Too big to rig.
To the people who say that you're now directing your Justice Department to investigate 2020, and they want to move on.
Very capable. I think Pam is going to be great.
Precious resources.
By the way,
is that what you want them to do?
Just so you know, I have the right to do that, but I'm not interested in that.
Oh, you're not. You're not going to do that.
I'm not interested.
Okay.
I have the absolute right. I'm the chief law enforcement officer. You do know that. I'm the president. But I'm not interested in that. You know what I'm interested in? Drilling and getting prices down and stopping people from pouring into our border that come from prisons and mental institutions.
And people like you would have felt appropriate at the time. I don't know. So many of these kids are forced into labor to pay off smuggling fees. Who's this talking? I think this is Trump talking. Check this out.
What happens in terms of the drug cartels and their business? They use kids to get them through the border, and then do they force them to pay money to the drug cartels while they're living in America? How does it work?
Absolutely. We had over 500,000 children trafficked in this country, smuggled in this country by criminal cartels. This administration can't even find 340,000 of them that they released to unvetted sponsors. And we're going to try to find these kids and rescue them, but you're exactly right. Many of these kids are in forced labor to pay off their smuggling fees, which they'll never pay off, and many are in forced sex slavery. So President Trump is committed to finding these children. We got to do it and save these children and get them back to their families. We'll let the immigration consequences follow that, but we got to save many of these children who are living a day of hell every day because this administration let them come into the country at a 500,000 number and they release them to unvetted sponsors, which we're going to find out. Many of them are predators. Many of them are traffickers and forced labor syndicates. So this is another rail of priority President Trump has promised the American people.
Awesome is what this is. Just unbelievable. Tennessee Bureau, I told you about this. So investigations, Venezuelan gang in every major city within the states. These problems exist all over the place. And they're trafficking, too, is what they're talking about. So all the child trafficking and everything else, a lot of this is happening through these different gang organizations that the Bidens intentionally brought into this country. This has all been... Venezuela was off the limits. They were not allowed to come here. They were a communist country. Biden changed that. He made the exception to Cuba, Venezuela, and the other two, whatever they were. It's like, what? Are you crazy? Yeah, looking back on it. So the NDAA, the 2025 fiscal year NDAA, is entirely meant to lock us into Ukraine, keep Trump from being able to do a lot of things. Ukraine and Russia provisions codifying endless war. Section 1303 is a blatant effort to block President Trump from negotiating peace in Ukraine. Section 6412 and 6413. These provisions institutionalize U.S. involvement in Ukraine by mandating continuing assessments and working groups. Budget shackles, blocking flexibility to address urgent crisis. So General Transfer Authority requires congressional approval for reallocating defense funds. When Trump was going to take defense funds and use those for the wall and other things, they're trying to hamstring him. This is being pushed through by Republicans, by the way, not necessarily being supported entirely, but this is something that if Matt Gaetz was still in office, he'd be making all sorts of noise about this. This is really, really bad. They got funding earmarks so the bill diverts significant resources to climate resilience and diversity, equity, and inclusion, like forcing Trump into more DEI crap. Again, whether this is legal or not is questionable too. Climate and energy, undermining energy independence, like probably not letting us baby drill. So they're literally trying to hamstring Trump in every way. Military, justice, and personnel, entrenching woke policies, forcing stuff. And again, Congress can't take away presidential powers. Congress is, there are three legs to this government. They're all equal. 33% of the weight is shared on all of them. They're all equal branches, and they all actually counterbalance each other. Congress cannot have more power than the president. President cannot make laws, and Supreme Court cannot do a lot of the things that, executive and others, right? They can just make sure that the laws stand by what the law is supposed to be. They can't arrest people for it, right? So a lot of crazy stuff. Indo-Pacific War and the Australian U.S. Grouping. They want to surrender sovereignty to foreign powers. Just a lot of really stupid stuff's in here. I was curious if it had been voted in yet. There was people that were talking about it as if it hadn't. They thought it went further than it. I don't know. I looked it up. National Defense Authorization Act, fiscal year 2025. As of right now, the bill has been introduced. It's not passed the Senate. It's not passed the House. It's not to the president. It hasn't become law. It's just been introduced. I don't think this is going to make it through, but we do have a government possible shutdown coming on the 20th. This is something they're trying to jam through. This would be another example where I think it would be worth having a government shutdown, give an extended Christmas break, and not pass this. In fact, we should find a better way to do this, or be able to get rid of all the crap in here that doesn't belong in there and handle it as a expense by expense by expense. And if nobody wants to do that, all right, then the government can stay shut down until you guys are willing to come to the table, or until January 20th when we swear in our own people, and we'll pass it then. Take your pick. So we'll see. I don't think the full Republican support's behind this, but I guarantee Democratic support's behind this. So it only takes just a few Republicans to F this up for everybody. So we need to make noise about this. This thing cannot go through. The NDAA for 2025 cannot pass. Alleged Trump assassin wants help from the judge who dismissed Jack Smith's Mar-a-Lago case against the president-elect. He's trying to delay it roughly a year, until December of next year. Whatever. Not sure 100% why. Ruth asserts that going to trial in 2 months would deprive him of his constitutional rights, as his counsel would be unable to provide a proper defense. So he wants more time. Whatever. I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know how I feel about this. Waits till then. Trump's in office. As long as we got Trump in office. Adam Schiff's going to take office Monday, not in January, after Newsom makes power play to help California. So the senator that stepped in for, what was it, Barbara Boxer? Was she the one? Feinstein, sorry. When Feinstein died, Rep. Barbara Lee was put in her place. Well, he just kind of forced Barbara Lee to quit so that he could put Schiff in for her sooner. So they're trying to get Schiff put in place to actually play a part probably in this NDAA stuff and try to help push that across the finish line. I pray to God we can slow this down enough, however we need to. We'll see how that plays out. But yeah, them putting Schiff in place is just, again, him and Raskin and a few of these guys are some major power players that have proven their loyalties to the deep state, unquestionably. And so now he's being placed into another place. Laura Trump stepping down as RNC co-chair and has addressed the whole discussion of DeSantis possibly putting her in as senator. She said she's very open to the possibility. So odds are she's stepping down from RNC to make that possible. We'll see exactly. Senator Mitch McConnell is trying to displace blame on him for the nation's managed decline under his long tenure in the Senate. Many economic nationalists believe McConnell, the longest-serving Senate party leader in American history, has managed the nation's decline while elites profited. McConnell apparently disagrees. He suggested at the annual Reagan National Defense Forum that MAGA is responsible for the managed decline. Still blaming us. Love it. Well done there, Mitch, or bitch. Even though the movement is only 8 years old, McConnell has been in power since 1985. Under McConnell's Senate leadership, the national debt rose more than $35 trillion, illegal immigration surged, and real wages for American workers have not grown. Mitch, Mr. Bitch, McConnell, it's not MAGA, my stupid friend. MAGA is pointing out your failures, you lying sack of shit. Plus, Obamacare was enacted in 2010, Mitch. Congress bailed out big banks in 2008, Mitch. And social media companies silenced individuals without repercussions, Mitch. Also, you have communist ties, Mitch. I hope the truth comes out about you before you die. That's what I hope. And I don't want you to die from a rope or anything crazy like that. No, you can die however. I want you to be disgraced publicly. I want the world to know what you've done and how you've sold this country out. That's what I like. Blaming MAGA, you fucking piece of shit. Sorry. Got me a little fired up. Bastard. Great mushroom called Coriolus versicolor. Powerful product. This one's fun because it's got green in it. This one's got yellow. You might actually be able to see it a little better. But yeah, powerful products. They have that mushroom in it. That mushroom has been shown in numerous studies, and they've got research that they can share with you. Multiple studies, over 400, that it actually helps the immune systems. They've also seen anti-cancer activities with it. They've seen anti-parasitic stuff with it. Some interesting what it seems to do. It just seems to help. People that have had problems in their own ways have, like I had Baby Trump on. He talked about how he had a neck tumor, literally took gobs of this stuff, like triple doses twice a day, like 6 times doses, and says it went away. He didn't have any surgery, supposedly. He doesn't have any scars. So, yeah, it went away. I mean, prayer and everything else probably played a part, too. Well, they've got this for dogs, cats, and horses, and people. This product's amazing. They've got a lot of very amazing stuff. One of the easy ways to get involved, if you've got a dog, first off, is mush puppies. It's kind of like a cookie. And, you know, dogs like cookies. They're cool with stuff like that, especially if you call it a cookie, because they probably already have some form of a cookie. This has the mushroom in it. And it's just a way to get that in their body on a regular basis without changing a whole lot of stuff. Mojo's is another great friend of the channel. Little Nana. Go to Nana's Little Corner. She's got a great little channel on Rumble. You can try to, she's helping Florida out, Nana's Little Corner. But she said she's got dogs and cats, and she says she does the Mojos. And she's giving them to both her dogs and cats. Her dogs love the liver treats. That's all the Mojo is. It's a liver treat with the mushroom. And her cats love them too. They're delicious. So the Mojo's the treat that dogs and cats have available to them. Obviously, cats wouldn't like cookies. They're not really their thing. You've got special sauce, which cats have as well, and it's something you can just squeeze on top of existing food. And it's a way to get that mushroom. It's like a gravy on top of. The dog's going to love it, and he's going to get all that delicious, healthy stuff inside of his body. And they've also got all sorts of foods that have no chemicals, are properly put together, very, very healthy, have the mushroom in it. They also have a freeze-dried one, which is kind of fun because when you get it wet, it expands 4 times its size, which means it takes up 1/4 the space, right? That's powerful. And adding some water to expand it before you feed your animal, well, if you do it right and put a little warm water, or if you're like we used to, we'd actually make dinner, me and my girlfriend, and we'd put it in the plates. And then we'd have my dog's bowl, and we'd put it up on the counter, and we'd put stuff in it at the same time. So she felt like she was getting some of the dinner, like she was getting prepared at the same time, and she would eat with us. And so I'd put her bowl down, and we'd put our plates down, and we'd all start eating, and my dog was super happy. She didn't realize that she wasn't getting the same exact food. She's just happy. And that's a good way to do it. Put some little warm water in there, and now your dog's got some warm food. Again, they've got great treats. Antler sticks, when they chew on them, helps their teeth, obviously, but it's chewing off minerals. So they're getting some of that calcium in their body. Just really awesome products. Mutt mints, if your dog's got nasty-ass breath, you know what I'm talking about. That's another one of those things. And cats, got the Nipster, no chemicals, once again, because stuff made in China tends to have lead in it. It's one of the things that we constantly poison our animals with, amongst many things. But again, the Mojos, special sauce, different foods. And horses have mush ponies. So it's essentially the equivalent of mush puppies, but for horses. And they've got a number of buying ways you can get them. If you've got many, many horses, you might want to consider getting a lot of that. And then the humans, a lot of great products that all have the mushroom. You can get it in your body. The gummies are actually really, really good. They've got coffee that's got that in there as well. And even cookies for those of you that like to get your munch on. Coriolus versicolor is within these chocolate chip cookies. That's magic right there, my friends. Go to danradiostyle.petclub247.com. That's danradiostyle.petclub247.com and make that big step to try to help keep yourself healthy. Court is rejecting minister's request to delay Netanyahu trial. He was trying to delay it. They're not letting him. He is now actually, I think, starting the trial, set to take the witness stand for the first time tomorrow on Tuesday, or today for some of you. So yeah, this ongoing trial over alleged fraud that started back in 2020. Seems like so much has happened since then, doesn't it? Which one can wonder if any of that's tied together. Donald Trump said he had an exchange with Chinese leader Xi Jinping in recent days. He's the first clear indication of direct contact between the two men since the former U.S. president re-election in November. Apparently the last time they met in person was June of 2019. which is interesting, having some discussions. China, though, they're launching an antitrust investigation into AI giant NVIDIA, triggering fears of an escalating international dispute entangling one of America's most vital tech companies. You see, they been told by the U.S. that we can't sell you guys chips that are used for this type of stuff. Sorry. And China's pretty pissed about that. They're falling behind in the AI world, and they don't like it. And I'm sure NVIDIA was probably, I think they were manufacturing, if I remember correctly, in Taiwan. So, of course, China feels like they're owed, but Taiwan's like, no, we're not giving you any of the information. But China's like, oh, yes, you will. And so there's a lot of little weird problems at work here. Ultimately, it's why we were bringing the, I know Samsung's going to be making chips here, but I thought NVIDIA, too, was possibly making a factory here in the States. I could be wrong on that, but I think that's true. Whatever the case is, yeah, we've got some major stuff that is unwinding. South Korean martial law fallout deepens as President Yoon Suk Yeol targeted in a criminal probe. Again, I don't know if this dude's good or bad at this point at all. I don't know if he's the right guy, the wrong guy. I don't know if he's a good guy, if he's getting caught up in, kind of like Trump, like they're going after him, trying to take him down because he was trying to do the right thing. I am not sure. It seems like they're going after him, but I mean, the way they're bringing down Assad and potentially bringing this guy down, I think this might be an actual attack to bring down deep state thuggery around the world. So I think probably that's where I'm leaning at the moment, but hard to say. I don't know enough about this dude. And I didn't feel like spending gobs of time trying to research him because I still probably wouldn't know much more after being done with it. We'll kind of see what plays out, and I'm kind of just, like I've said before, it's in God's hands, right? I'm just giving you the play-by-play. I'm not necessarily going to question God's, if it happened, it happened. Okay, this is what's up. This is what needs to be for whatever reason. And I'll try to put powdered sugar on it if it's a turd, and if it's not, then I'll put powdered sugar on it anyway and keep you confused because you'll be like, is this actually French toast? And I'll be like, you should try it. It's really good. And you'll be like, you said that last time it was a turd. And I'm like, I know. We want to keep you on your toes. More mysterious drones spotted over New Jersey's airport. Yeah, we played this already. Cool. So that was where I lost it. Series of strong earthquakes hits near Alaska's Adak Island. I don't know, a lot of decent-sized quakes have been happening. These are 6.3s. No tsunami warnings on this. I don't know. Again, not a huge quake. This is definitely a part of the world that's not, that definitely gets earthquakes, and big ones for that matter. But, yeah, it just seems like we're having a decent number of nice-sized quakes. Let's call it that. This is a man on a Mexican Air flight that was, well, taken over by the people on the flight. He was trying to basically get this thing to depart to America, and they weren't having it. It's like that scene in Airplane where you had the dude with like the bat and was waiting to smack the chick. I don't know, kind of felt like that a little bit. Nada, limonada. Anyway, yes, yeah, they got him. They kept him. He was detained, and yeah, they're lucky they didn't beat the crap out of him, frankly. Pretty cool. They're talking about, and this is Waters, Jesse Waters, on with these gentlemen here, PBD podcast. He was on with them, and they were talking about Diddy's mansion and how this actually might be worse than Epstein. Kind of crazy what Waters is saying. I think you guys will appreciate it.
Your thoughts on this story here?
So it wasn't just this guy that was saying it. Lil Rod, the former producer, filed the lawsuit, and he said every room in Diddy's mansions were wired with cameras. And he had some of the footage, he had some of the pictures, and he displayed those in the lawsuit that came out. And this was used for blackmail material. They'd bring in these people. A lot of these people were also aspiring young artists in the music industry. And then these parties were sponsored by Motown Records CEO, Universal Records CEO. This goes all the way to the top. And so you get these people in compromising situations. The drinks were laced. The videotapes were hot. And then at the end of the day, you wake up the next morning, what did I do? And then they have compromising material on you. And then they can guide your career. They could kill your career, but they got you. And it wasn't just people in the music business. As you said, there were athletes, there were celebrities, there were politicians, people from the royal family. And we were also told by the former bodyguard that Diddy was an FBI informant. Whoa. So he was a snitch and was feeding information to the feds. And we don't know what that means. We haven't been able to confirm it, but even Little Rod said it's not just like Epstein. It could be worse than Jeffrey Epstein.
This is going to break many, many people. So again, some of these people that are mysteriously dying, they might just be trying to get the hell out of Dodge so they're not in trouble. Jay-Z has been accused in a civil lawsuit of raping a 13-year-old girl in 2000 along with Sean Diddy Combs. Now, is it possible that Jay Diddy's guilty? For sure. I want his day in court to happen, or Jay-Z, I mean, or both for that matter. But it is interesting, and Jay-Z does make an adequate point here, I hope, as I am attempting to pull it up in such rapid speed. Yay. Wow, funny how long that took to pull up. But this was him putting this out, Rock Nation, but this is Jay-Z. Said, my lawyer received a blackmail attempt called a demand letter from a lawyer named Tony Busby. What he had calculated was the nature of these allegations and the public scrutiny would make me want to settle. No, sir. It had done the opposite effect. It made me want to expose you for the fraud that are in a very public fashion. So no, I will not give you one red penny. These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? And he continues down that path. That's interesting, right? Like, that's true. If in fact Jay-Z didn't do these, then yeah, go after him criminally for that, because that's a criminal thing. Now, 2000, maybe it's outside of the statutes of limitations. That's entirely possible. But 50 Cent, well, he's taking a brutal swipe at Jay-Z after suggesting the rapper should no longer produce the Super Bowl halftime show amid claims that he raped a minor. Now, I think, and I disagree with 50, that I don't believe that an accusation counts as anything anymore at all. Even if it's an accusation that someone that's slimy, that's probably guilty, has done something so heinous, they're using accusations against Trump, Hegseth, Kash Patel, who knows who else, right? Judge Kavanaugh. That's all allegations. None of it was factual. So I don't believe allegations are a crime. I don't believe someone making allegations means you're guilty. No, you are innocent until proven guilty. So as far as I'm concerned, until we know otherwise, maybe Jay-Z's innocent. I mean, his comment is what you should say if you're innocent, I would think. I mean, I think he's done all sorts of horrible stuff, and there's this type of stuff, which is very bothersome. Here is Jay-Z wearing Ellen's, this is the face, by the way, of the child's story is Hillary. This is the Wilson ball. Like this whole thing, Ellen had this picture on the back of her wall, and this had to do with what the girl looked like when her skin was removed from her face. This was what she looked like, and she was still talking, and she was upset. She was like trying to figure out why they were doing this to her. She was just in shock, I'm sure. They literally took her face off. So this shirt is the most heinous image known. Now, what I do find strange about it, and maybe it's just this difference in size of people, don't know, but there seems to be a large difference in size, almost like they're made differently or something. I don't know. Like the sizing's much bigger on her, but maybe it's because she's up closer and he's a much bigger guy. Maybe, who knows? But this is super heinous. He's also maybe with the son. I don't know who the kid is with him. There's also this picture of Jay-Z hanging out with, of course, Marina Abramovich, which is kind of crazy. So this is her, Jay-Z. They're doing their thing. Sean Carter's his real name. Accused of raping this girl. So we'll see. We'll see. Crazy. So attorney Tony Busby filed this lawsuit accusing Jay-Z of raping a 13-year-old girl. Claims he and his family are being harassed and followed after the rapper accused him of extortion. Kinda. And that's the game these guys are getting into. He said he knew what he was doing, Busby. I don't know if that's true. We'll see. CNN and Jake Tapper lose crucial motions in this massive defamation case against this Zachary Young guy. He won a number of crucial trial motions in his defamation case against far-left CNN, Jake Tapper. It looks like he's probably going to walk away with actual some money from CNN and probably Tapper as well. We'll see. We'll see how it all plays out in the big picture. And then weekend, U.S. public broadcasters will fight for their lives in 2025. Whoops. Hell no. Last week, Republican Senator John Kennedy introduced the subtly named No Propaganda Act. If enacted, it would end federal funding for America's public media. I used to work for a public radio station, but it wasn't one of these ones. Well, it was a college one, and we used to have fundraisers every year. And I think we got some money from the college somehow. So, I mean, it wasn't totally, but yeah, we had to do fundraisers every year. It was a pain in the ass, frankly, but it was fun. It was usually a cool deal, big show. Usually had some tickets we gave away and all sorts of good stuff. So, yeah, this is, be nice to get rid of NPR and PBS are the two major ones on the chopping block. Defund them entirely. I love the idea. Love it. This is just a cool video, and if you think about like all that trash, that floating island of plastics in the middle of the ocean, right? Over by Puerto Rico, I think, actually. This might actually be a really neat way to help large amounts of people around the world and deal with large quantities of our trash at the same time. I don't know. It looks gross at first, but it's plastic, so you're not going to eat this, I promise.
Whoever invented this brick is absolutely a genius. Do you know that these kinds of bricks are practically indestructible? When they're stacked together, not even a mighty bulldozer can shake them. Sounds insane, right? Even crazier is that 90% of these bricks are made from plastic waste. These incredible bricks not only solve the problem of skyrocketing housing prices, but also address the issue of garbage recycling. These miraculous bricks were invented by the Canadian company Pliax. The process to make them is remarkably simple. Just toss collected plastic into a crusher, which grinds everything into small pieces. Then, heat these plastic flakes until they become sticky substances. Workers then add some concrete before pouring the mixture into special molds. Once dried, these bricks are ready to go. They function a lot like Lego bricks, making them incredibly easy to handle and assemble. What's more astonishing is that you don't need any tools to use them, just your hands to piece them together to build a house. Each brick weighs just 5 pounds, making it effortless for anyone to use. Despite their lightweight, they're over 3 times sturdier than traditional bricks. So, would you trust them to build your future home?
Pretty cool technology, right? Like, basically a Lego house, which kind of makes me think of the 3 pigs, right? The 3 little pigs, like a huff and puff and I'll blow down your house. Like, obviously straw's not going to make it. Obviously wood's not going to make it. What about plastic? It's not quite brick, but it's close. I don't know. Folks, if you guys want to help out the channel in a cool kind of way and help let other people out there in the world know who you represent or what information they're currently lacking, I want you to go to truththread.shop. That's truththread.shop. Check out our great merchandise. We've got, of course, Dan Radio style stuff here. DRS, it's in the emblem. Love the emblem. Very cool stuff. So, yes, a whole lot of very, very cool products that we've got that emblem for. Plus the 9/11 shirts, never forget, 911. We've also got the 6/11 Ephesians fight, fight, fight. Very cool shirt. And these all have lots of like information on the backs of them. An example is 5G. This is, I guess, one of our most popular shirts right now, by the way. So the back of this one's cool because it kind of explains to you the different generational warfare. First generational battles fought with massed manpower, with uniformed soldiers governed by states, right? Second generation battles fought with rifles, then fought using late modern technology. Fourth generation, we're down here in the 5th. So it's one of those fun things that you can kind of make sure that you're letting the public know, because not everybody understands these things. So it's a great way to help the channel, a great way to also help the world wake up. Go to truththread.shop, truththread.shop. You're helping the channel. You're helping a family who's printing this themselves. So that's pretty cool. It's a husband and wife duo. This is not the wife, by the way. But It's a great way to help. As a family of 4 that is printing this stuff, and you're definitely helping them, which is awesome, and that's why I partnered up. I just felt like this was a great way to do this, and you're also helping the channel. I essentially get free merch out of it. That's how it works. Like, we build up enough credit, and then I order some crap, and I get it sent to me, and then I've got merch, and it's just fun, and that way all of us get to play along. So go to truththread.shop. That's truththread.shop, and help the channel, help the world, help all that great stuff. All said, we got a lot happening, and I think the next number of days are going to be interesting. I think we've got some bumps in the night coming. I have no idea when they're actually going to happen. I'm as ready as I can be. There's some stuff that still seems to be finalizing in my world, so I think there's going to be progressions. I think things are kind of going to get worse before they get better, but I do think they're going to lead to a head, and I think the deep state is ultimately going to out themselves. We are going to see whether the transition of power happens peacefully or not, whether they're able to put any roadblocks in place, or if we're able to stop them, then that kind of forces them to do more crazy behaviors. Again, don't know what's going on. We do know we're going to be paying attention every single day. I'll give you the play-by-play, and we'll be as prepared as we can be. But ultimately, we go as a group. We come together. We're just a big, giant family. Where we go one, we go all. It's On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.